Some of the changes in Warzone Season 2 were surprisingly good. Now, we all know that Season 2 and Season 1 tend to be really quiet for Warzone in terms of the calendar year, just getting back from Christmas, development is slow, and not a lot is going on. But this is the first update we've seen in the news cycle of Warzone that has made me genuinely hopeful for how Warzone is being managed, how it's being ran, and what we should expect in the future. Now, yes, there are still problems with anti-cheat, but that aside, there is something really enjoyable going on with the trajectory of Warzone. I wanted to talk about it in this video today. Now, before I begin this video today, this video is brought to you by Acer Predator Gaming and Intel Gaming. Myself, Stoddy, and Westy are co-hosting a watch party for the IEM Cattle Ice tournament on the 11th of February 2024, and you can watch it with us in Canary Wharf in central London by checking out the link in the description below. So let's talk about the Season 2 update, and I was pleasantly surprised to see a number of changes that I wasn't expecting necessarily right away, but represent a shift forward in quality of life for Call of Duty. The first one is a major one. Seeing a red outline on the screen on your minimap when you are marked by a UAV is such a huge boost for the game. We have the return of UAV callouts, and on top of that, with portable radars, it's very difficult sometimes to know whether or not you're being spotted by a UAV or you haven't been. And finally, we have a universal language for understanding if you're being seen by an enemy team, which I highly respect, and I think that's something that it's great to see in Warzone. Likewise, on that front, we're also seeing an actual outline marker for airstrikes, which is something I have been asking for since the original Warzone released. Airstrikes in this game are very unpredictable, can be very damaging in or outside of buildings, seemingly at complete random, and this is the first time I can finally say that airstrikes feel balanced. There's also even a danger zone marker on the tactical map if you can't see an incoming precision airstrike, and lets you know that when you're running into an area with a strike present, you might actually get hit. And there are so many more of these quality of life changes. You will auto-equip a durable gas mask over a regular gas mask. You can now ping a redeploy drone and it actually appears at the bottom of the ascender to actually make it more obvious where things are. Your death location is highlighted on the screen more visibly. Live pings also fade when you aim down sight at them. The flight path when you drop into a map remains in the sky for a period of time, so you can potentially see where other enemies might have dropped. And arguably my favorite improvement is an improvement to health delay across the board. You get more health back more quickly in this variant of Warzone now, and it feels much more action-packed and allows you to be more aggressive than ever before. It was really great to see such an emphasis on quality of life improvements going into Season 2, and all of these are big tick boxes for me. But it didn't even end there. The audio in Fortune's Keep, particularly, is noticeably improved. Parachute audio, zipline audio, players dropping in on ladders or using ladders. All of these things are audibly so much more clearer than we've ever had in the game, and again, represents a big step in the right direction of the game. So across the board, seeing all of these quality of life changes has been absolutely phenomenal, and it's really something that the game needed. There is still more to be done though. The anti-cheat definitely still isn't in the best place, and Call of Duty is still using extremely lackluster servers, which I truly feel is the last piece of the puzzle from taking Warzone to a good game with good qualities to a game that gives you an unparalleled experience. This game with decent refresh rate servers and decent ping and hit reg would genuinely have a competitive element to it that would make the game more attractive. The time to kill and time to death experience in this game still feel random because of how low and lackluster the server system is, and if the servers were improved, the experience will be improved. And if that experience is improved, I feel like the majority of players are going to have a better time in Warzone. I was also really delighted to see that they've messed around with various little LTM ideas in zombies. Now, I don't mean Modern Warfare zombies, because unfortunately, if you're interested in that, the quality and content for that right now is not looking fantastic. But they've added zombies-like elements to Warzone as a small little LTM nod towards Resurgence and towards Fortune's Keep. And these are just a random little bit of fun, and these things are things that I have been asking for in Warzone for a while. We have ranked in Warzone now. We have a playlist that makes sense. So have LTMs in the game, have little events, have little things going on that give people more reasons to try something a little bit different and a little bit fresh. I would love to see more rotating limited time modes in Warzone compared to what we have now, which doesn't seem like enough. Before I talk about weapon balance, it was really worth talking about the changes to ADS idle sway and how your hipfire crosshair works, and how generally keyboard and mouse is treated in Warzone. They have drastically improved the responsiveness and aiming on mouse, and you can actually feel this on controller as well. The random ADS idle sway, generally centering your weapon and centering for target engagements, is a much more consistent experience. And this is a more deep level engine style change that I think is something that we've needed for a long time, and it's been highlighted by people like True Game Data over and over again. But what's great about these changes is they represent an understanding that things that are fundamental and things in terms of how they work at a base level of the game, the core mechanics, are worth overriding and changing if it means better balance and better gameplay experience for the majority of players. It's been a while since we've spoken about the meta in Warzone, and this was also a positive, refreshing part of Season 2. It feels like it's in a much better place right now. I still think there's too much of a gap between the experience when you're killed by something versus the time to kill when you take somebody out. The time to death versus TTK experience still has too large a gulf, and most of that is down to the server system within Warzone. But for the most part, the general feel in terms of how long it takes to kill somebody, how much you can slip in and out of gunfights, is in a much better place than it has been in Warzone before. It feels fairly well balanced, it feels like a system that caters towards movement-based gameplay, and I'm glad to see things like the XRK Stalker be a one-shot option outside of ranked game modes. I would consider myself to be one of Warzone's genuine most critical people in terms of things they get right, things they get wrong, and this is one of the first updates in a while where I felt like universally they just got a lot right. Now yes, some of you won't be interested in ranked resurgence, and some of you won't even find Fortune's Keep something of interest, but it's just worth talking about how phenomenally well quality of life was approached in this update, and I hope that we continue to see this trend onward, where the game doesn't just push forward content, but push forwards changes that make the general gameplay loop more beneficial. Now yes, the skeptic in me is aware of the fact that the anti-cheat system isn't doing particularly well, the server system is fairly cheap and runs at 20 Hz, but it's difficult to not appreciate some of these changes that we've wanted since the inception of Warzone finally coming around to the game. And I'm interested to hear your thoughts and feelings in the comment section below. Are there any changes for Warzone or quality of life improvements that you've been waiting for quite some time, or anything that you would want to see in Season 3? I'm also really interested to hear you guys' thoughts on Ranked Resurgence. I felt like this wasn't a mode that most people would find interesting, but for the most part, it seems to have a pretty good player base. As always, folks, thank you for watching. Make sure you check out the link in the description below for tickets to the IEM Katowice watch party, and I'll catch you again in the next one.